Hello, I'll be presenting Chapter 6 of the Environmental Implications of Population Dynamics, focusing on the arenas of interaction, climate change, and land use change. There are four underlying reasons why do we choose climate change and land use change as specific examples of relationship between population and environment. First, there are relatively scientific evidence exists with regard to the role of demographic factors for these two topics. Each demonstrates how the interaction of population and the environment operates at a different spatial scale. While climate change is a global issue, and land use change operates at the local and national scales. Number three, different demographic perspectives are represented while the climate change is primarily shaped by population size and growth. Changes in land use often arise from the shifts in population distribution. And lastly, several types of mediating influences are also represented. Population is not the only force brought to bear on the climate change and land use change because technology, policy issues, and cultural factors all play critical roles in determining the ultimate nature of the relationships. There are also limitations on the study, which is first is the data on ecological systems are not often easily merged with data on the social systems, and the issue of inferring causality, while research may uncover a positive relationship between demographic factors and a particular form of environmental change, association does not equate with causation. So we will look into this equation to determine what are the factors affecting the environmental impact. So first is population size, followed by the capita consumption levels, and lastly the capita pollution generated by technology. So we can say that the effects of population to climate change are as follows. Population and population size and growth are important in the emission of greenhouse gases. Population size will account for 35% of the global increase in CO2 emissions anticipated between 1985 and 2100, and declines declines in fertility to below replacement level in both developed and developing countries could reduce projected emissions in 2100 by 37%. Also, in a study conducted, cost of reducing carbon emissions by spending to reduce births compares favorably with the cost of such alternative policies as a carbon tax. Uh, Emission. The marginal cost of reducing carbon emission by 10% through a carbon tax would be $20 per ton, while the reduction of carbon emissions by lowering population growth through family planning would cost between 4 and $11 per ton. So population size does not produce climate change alone. Income is also a critical determinant. At the national level, emission rise as incomes up upward toward a maximum of about $10,000 in per capita GDP above emissions decline likely because of the improvements of energy efficiency. So we cannot say that the population alone produces climate change because it has many factors and one of which is income. Also, we would like to look on the effects of climate change to population, one of which is the sea level rise. Uh, Melting of glaciers and polar ice will result in a possible sea level rise of 50 centimeters by 2100, or a projected national land losses in percent of about 18% in Bangladesh. Ecological impacts. So one also effect of climate change to population or the ecological impacts wherein as individual species respond to changes in climate change, the composition and geographic distribution of such ecosystems as deserts, forests, and wetlands will shift. So, shifts in agricultural productivity will increase the disparities between developed and the developing regions. Human health impacts also is one of the effects of climate change to population, wherein ecosystems shifts the geography of vector-borne infectious disease by modifying the location conditions that exacerbate health risks. So after we look on the effects of climate change to population, we are now looking at the effects of population to land use by looking into the two prominent human-induced land use change, which is agriculture and deforestation. Agriculture refers to two types of agriculture. One is extensification or through increase in cultivated land area, while intensification refers to the means of increasing the yield through introduction of irrigation, fertilizer, herbicides, and pesticides. While we look into the deforestation as the consequences of agriculture extensification, as we said, agricultural extensification focuses on the increase on the cultivated land area, which affects on the forest land area. So it also has the product of complex factors such as demographic factors, policy, and internal market pressure. So here are some of the effects of population to land use. So, countries with higher population densities have a greater proportions of cultivated land area and associated to deforestation, while increasing local population densities can lead changes in agricultural production techniques, which increases food production but have consequences with the environment. So, as we can see, that the effects of climate change and land use to population have a varying scale. When we look into the climate change, it's more on the global scale, while the effects of land population to land use are small on the local scale level of things. So, all in all, both have population greatly affects uh, climate greatly affects climate change and land use. And that will be all. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Thank you very much. Have